Hello viewers, this is George from Ireland again, and today I'm going to give you some tips if you're ever tourists in London. Perhaps my identity could best be described as London Irish. So although I'm from Ireland, I spent quite a few formative years in and around London. It's an absolutely marvellous city that I adore, though it does have a bad side to it as well. So here are some tips, again, not necessarily in order of priority, ascending or descending, just randomly as I came up with them. Number one, use public transport. It might seem blindingly obvious, but some of you are coming from the United States, the land of the car, where cities are newer, streets are wider, there's plenty of parking, things like that. But London's rather different. Public transport in London is superb insofar as it goes just about everywhere. The London Underground is the railway system, commonly called the Tube. And the thing is, the London Underground is not always underground. There are also overground trains. Confusingly, the overground trains go through tunnels sometimes. In the centre of London, there'll be a tube station underground every half a mile. There'll be bus stops every quarter of a mile, I suppose. There is a tram system in South London. There's even a cable car over the Thames at one place. So you will not have difficulty getting around by public transport, especially to the major tourist attractions. And what else about it? Oh, buy an Oyster card. These blue cards, I should have brought mine to show you, I don't have it with me. It's about the size of one of these, about the size of a credit card. And you touch in and touch out at tube stations, that's underground, in the mainline railway stations, overground. On buses you touch in, you don't touch out. You cannot use a bus except with an Oyster card. Buses do not take cash, whereas trains and the tube do. But it's half price if you use Oyster cards. Let me see. So it's a big city, about 25 miles by 25, 8 million people. There's not much parking space. You pay through the nose for parking. There's a congestion charge in the city centre. Number two, book online. This applies to hotels as well as tourist attractions, like the London Eye and the London Dungeon, because it's cheaper and you're guaranteed to get in. Often you can skip the queue. That means not waiting in line for tourist attractions if you've booked online. So what else was I going to say? There are some very affordable hotels, such as Premier Inn, Easy Hotel, Travel Lodge. And they're all very decent. They provide what you would need. They're not fancy. They don't pretend to be. They're perfectly functional. They're hygienic. They're often conveniently located. Around Norfolk Square, that's by Paddington Station, there are lots of low-cost hotels. But again, many of them are not glamorous. Number three, go out of season. So a high season is June to August, where it is manic, especially at tourist attractions. Tourists from all over the world, often language students improving their English, often students from the United States on cultural and historical tours. The shoulder season is best, months such as May and September, where the weather's usually decent, but it's not quite so crowded. Low season is more October to February, though there is a spike around Christmas of tourists. The one thing is, from October to February, you won't see the sun. There's low, grey cloud constantly. So the Christmas tourists I mentioned, by the 7th of January, most of them are gone. You know, the first Monday of January, work has started, school has started for most people. And by the 7th, there'll be virtually none of them. The end of January is very dead, and hotels drop their prices and so on. But bear in mind, it'll be quite dispiriting because it's just so overcast and rainy. Don't believe that the summer starts in April. April showers. As T.S. Eliot, the American in London, wrote, April is the cruelest month, possibly referring to this fall storm of summer. Right, number four, when you're going to tourist attractions, go early. Tourists tend to get up perhaps 9, have a leisurely breakfast, finishing at 10, going back to their room to digest till about 11. They head out after that, they get somewhere about 12 noon. So if you go to a tourist attraction in the afternoon, you'll find that the queues are very lengthy. So the wisest thing is to get up and go just after rush hour, trying to get there just after 9 o'clock, and you'll find there's far less foot traffic. It's a lot easier to get into. Because places like the Tower of London are slightly spoiled by having just so many people. Somehow ruins the ambiance. Number 5, bring a coat. A Singaporean said to me, I'm going to England in October. Will I need a coat? Coming from the equator, she never experienced cold. Yes, of course you'll need a coat at any time of year. Doesn't have to be a particularly thick one for the summer, but expect rain. The weather cannot be relied upon even in July. So there will be drizzly days, 4 seasons in one day, where it's cold, then it's warm, then it's temperate but windy, and then there's a downpour, and then it's sunny again. So let me see. It's not particularly cold, almost never snows, but it is damp because the air has got so much moisture in it, it feels colder than it really is, gets into your bones. If you've got rheumatism or something, that might be a problem. Number 6, do not go down Oxford Street on Saturday, particularly in the afternoon. Do not go down Oxford Street at Christmas because it'll be jam-packed. Oxford Street is the main retail street. There are so many shoppers. There's hardly room to draw breath. I find it stressful, just so many people coming at me, so many faces to try and absorb. So if you're going to go to Oxford Street, I would say go in the midweek, in the morning, and it will not be quite so busy. After Christmas, there are all these January sales things, so that's the time to avoid it. Number 7, there are excellent day trips from London. The United Kingdom is quite a small country, territorially anyway. You can get anywhere by ground transport in 8 hours. I would say anywhere, right? By train, then bus, or by driving. The UK is only maybe 600 miles north to south, a bit less than that east to west. So you can take the train or bus to Oxford, to Cambridge, to Windsor. Hampton Court, with a fabulous 16th century palace, is on the outskirts of London. So don't feel you need to stay away overnight for these places. Number 8, do not expect things to be solely British, and appreciate London being so international. It's one of the most cosmopolitan cities in the world. Probably every nationality is represented there. Some foreigners are surprised there's so many visible minorities in London. London's only about 60% white. There are a lot of black British people, British Indians, British Chinese, British Pakistanis, and so on. Often their ancestors have been in the UK for the better part of a century. These people are British citizens and speak fluent English. Many of the whites are not British, or Polish, French, Romanian, and so forth. There's almost nobody in London is English. Even the so-called English people in London are often like half Irish, a quarter Scots, a quarter Welsh, something like that. So don't expect things to be solely British, to be old-fashioned and, I can't quite think of the word, unalloyed. Number 9, get last-minute tickets to go to West End shows. The West End of London is sometimes called Theatre Land. You'll even see it on street signs. And London has a claim to be the theatrical capital of the world, rivaled only by New York. So many fabulous musicals, comedies, tragedies, historical plays, experimental plays, anything you want, you name it, you've got it. So go to TKTS, as in TKTS, just like in New York, this box office where you can get cut price last-minute tickets. Having said that, it's pretty pricey. Quality doesn't come cheap. Even then, these cut price tickets would be £40 for the worst seat, right up in the gods. That's at the very top, looking almost directly down on the stage. So if you go to matinee performances, midweek performances, again, those tend to be more affordable, less crowded. But it will be an experience. The theatres will be fantastic, not just in the acting, but in the atmosphere, in the decor, everything. Number 10. Sharing a taxi can often be cheaper than going by public transport, especially there's several of you. These black London cabs, they're world-renowned. They can take 5 passengers. You can't sit in the front. There are flip-down seats in the back. Children often like to sit in these flip-down seats. You'll find illegal cabs coming to railway stations late at night because the queue for the legal black cabs is so huge. If somebody comes up to you saying, do you want a taxi? He's an illegal cabbie. They'll often charge you more. They often won't know their way around the city. They haven't passed the knowledge test, and they might even be criminals. Likewise, at airports, they're not allowed to come right up to you. You go to the legal black cab queue, or indeed phone and book one. I have occasionally taken illegal cabs rather than wait a long time in the queue. I know it's wrong of me. So that's that. I could talk about it for hours, but I must only use a confined space of time. I try wearing a different shirt each time. I know this one is revolting in terms of the pattern, not hygiene. I hasten to clarify that, lest there be the least doubt. Goodbye.